Welcome, everybody. This is Patter from Lavagna, and we are joined by Dorte from Denmark today for a exciting conversation about dental work and what goes on in our mouths that is really pretty mind-blowing. Yeah, let's just one of our members told me about Dorte. She had worked with her, and so we're excited to connect. We had a nice conversation a little while back, and she's generously agreed to come and share her expertise. This call is for Lavagna members, and so it's here to add value to your lives. So if you have something going on in your mouth or something that a loved one is dealing with, and you want to specifically dialogue with Dorte about it, that's what this call is definitely for. So I've prepared some questions to set the stage, and we'll start there, and then you guys are welcome to jump in and make sure that we adjust the conversation to get the information that you want. So thank you all for being Lavagna members, and thank you, Dorte, for your generosity in teaching us. Dorte does have a downloadable ebook that she has shared with us, and Jen will put the link to that in the chat. And then at the end of our time together today, we're doing things a little bit different with Dorte. Sometimes, there's a certain relationship with somebody we have on where we sell things through Lavagna that are a further service at a big discount. We're just going to send you directly to Dorte for any purchases that you make. And she's offering a really extraordinary special to us. Like, she's dropping the price of her course by 2/3 for anybody that wants to study with her. And then she also has one-on-one sessions. And if you just book with her directly, Lavagna is delighted to connect you to her, and the transactions don't need to be with us. So that's kind of the lay of the land. So Dorte, tell us about how you got interested in the field that you're in. Does your field have a name?
Well, I call myself a specialist in dental health. And my father was a dentist, and at some point I was getting interested in dentistry, and I chose to study to be a dentist.
Yeah.
And in the beginning I was very excited about it, and I really loved helping my patients, and I still love teeth so much. And but I actually, from the beginning, when I started to work as a dentist, I noticed that some people only had cavities in the right side or the left side, or in the upper mouth or lower mouth. And I found that hard to believe, because now I have just learned that brushing is what it's about. And can you actually brush so differently? And I also noticed that some people, they had perfect teeth, except for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And those teeth were root canal treated and in a bad state. So I saw a lot of things that didn't make sense. And I also remember a patient I had, a woman. She had 3, 4 cavities every time she came to see me. And one day she asked me, why do I get all the cavities? And the only thing that I could ask her about is, how much sugar do you eat? And she said, oh, I don't eat any sugar, because I don't even like the sweet taste. And I believed her. Why would she ask me if she was eating tons of sugar? And I also had a male patient with, he had gum disease. I know you call it gum disease, but periodontal disease, where you have the deep pockets and the teeth get loose. And he had severe periodontal, I can't say now, but you know what I mean. Yes.
Yeah, like
very
decay.
deep pockets.
Uh-huh.
And he asked me, why do I have this bad teeth? Because my wife, she brushes her teeth the same time as I do. When she doesn't brush longer, but her teeth are perfect. So why do I have this bad teeth? And what could I say? I could say, I don't know,
Mhm.
because I didn't. And then when I had been a dentist for 10 years, then I suddenly had 2 new cavities. And I always had very, very good teeth. I only had 2 cavities when I was 15 and 16. So why did I suddenly get 2 cavities? I knew that I hadn't changed my brushing habits, and I hadn't begun to eat more sugar. So that was a mystery. But I also knew that now I had to find a new explanation for what had puzzled me all the way. So I began to think and think, and I couldn't quite figure it out. And then I had a new friend, a very wise man. He was astrologist, and he knew the answer, because he told me that you get bad teeth when you bite your tongue instead of biting back. And when he said that, then everything fell into place for me. Because at the time that I had my new cavities, I was in a marriage that was not working anymore. But in my family, you could read between the lines that you don't get divorced. It's shameful to get a divorce. So I had bitten my tongue and swallowed my frustration and all the good speaking ways, that gives us away. I was frustrated, and then I realized that all the words that were not coming out of my mouth, all that energy that is not coming out of your mouth, that energy will transform and become something different. And that's what gives us all the problems with our teeth and our mouth.
Well, that's just amazing. I love the inquiry that you went on. And by the way, guys, I don't think Dorte's English needs any excuses. I think she's phenomenal. But
Thank you.
Yeah, you're great. And because of our interest, she's translated her work into English for the first time. So the written work is for us. So we're really privileged here that this woman has a lot of courage to reach around the globe and to have a whole new audience. And she's starting with Lavanya. And so that same spirit is what we're hearing about now. Like,
well, I need to correct you again, Patrick. It doesn't start with you. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So yeah, so I'm sorry, what's the correction? You had already started.
I didn't start with you. I was in America in 2017 and gave a lecture.
Gotcha. Okay, well, you worked on something new that you were bringing into English. So our call was a couple months ago, guys, and apparently
and the online course that you get the link for, this is what I made just for you.
And for what it's worth, guys, it's 5 o'clock in the morning here, and I don't feel my normal normal orientation to myself. So if I miss some questions or I mess them up, you guys just step in and ask whatever you guys want to learn, and don't worry about me getting in the way. The other day, I went to return a rental car, and it took like 15 minutes to find my keys. And then when I got to the airport and returned the car, I lost my wallet, which it took about 15 minutes to find, and it was on the ground underneath the car on the passenger side. I don't even know what to say about that. And then we went to volleyball. I went to volleyball with my son, and I left they call flip-flops, slippers here. I left my slippers there, and we had to walk back. And so my son James has taken to carrying my keys and my phone now, and looking out after me. Whatever's going on with me, I'm not in touch with the usual details. So no big deal. We'll just roll with it. Dorte, the model of the way we think in society tends to be, habitual and perpetuated, and then everybody's supposed to think the same way. And, sometimes we don't even realize assumptions are being made, and they're, pretty impactful in our lives. So what assumptions does the traditional dental model made that need to be examined and reconsidered?
Well, the dentistry is based upon a lie. And the lie is, science claims that body and mind are separate. And that's a lie. And, every time you have an emotion, have a feeling, then you can feel it in the body. You cannot have an emotion that you cannot sense in the body. So when science says that either you are physically ill or mentally ill, because they don't see how it goes together. So science, when we believe that body and mind are separate, then we believe that every disease is coming from the outside, and it's something physical that creates this physical problem inside of us. So when we learn that body and mind cannot be separated, it's a unit, then you learn that diseases come from within. And it's not something attacking us. We are creating diseases. And having healthy teeth is our natural state, no matter what we eat and no matter how we brush. So this is out of the common thinking, because we learn from when we get our first teeth that we need to brush, otherwise our teeth will go bad and we will get attacked by bacteria. And I believe that bacteria never attack anything. Why would they? Bacteria, they have a job to do, and that is to break down dead or dying tissue. So why would bacteria go looking for something living and say, well, I'm going to kill that and eat it? They don't. So we blame bacteria for a lot of things, and bacteria are our friends. We live in harmony.
That's a really different take, and it's wonderful to have the opportunity to reconsider. And
maybe I should tell a story now, because that's what normally makes people remember this.
Right.
I'm missing a finger.
Wow.
This left thumb was torn off by a horse and a rope. And when it happened very quickly. And did anything happen? And I looked down, and then I noticed that I was missing a finger. And my first thought was that this could not be my hand, because it's shameful to be missing a finger. I don't know why I thought that, but the fact is that this is how I saw it. I couldn't, this couldn't be my hand. And in the beginning, I hated my hand. It's like they could just cut the whole hand off, because I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then when they took the Band-Aid off, then there was an infection with multi-resistant staphylococcus here in the small piece and here. And this infection stayed on because it was, we couldn't kill it with antibiotics. And this was my luck, because then it was my responsibility to deal with that infection. And it stayed on until that moment where I decided to grieve, because I had been so busy moving on. And then I sat down and I wrote a farewell letter to my old hand, and then I bid my new hand welcome. And in that moment, the bacteria left, because now was my hand no longer dying. I sent new life energy into this hand because I really wanted to keep it. And I believe that's how it is when we are shutting down life energy. We call for the bacteria, and bacteria are always accessible. Where do they come from? They come out of nowhere, like flies and banana flies and or fruit flies, what you call them. And so where do they come from? They come when they are needed.
It's really amazing. What an amazing story for opening up, really receiving the reflections of life and understanding how powerful we are. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. It makes me think a little bit about a concept we've talked about with regard to, people who read the iris, read the eyeballs. They can see things in all parts of the body. People who work on your feet can work on all parts of your body. And then I think it's the same way with the teeth. Can you comment on that idea that the teeth are a representation of the whole body?
Yes. Well, I see a link between the teeth and areas of life. So I know that if you have a cavity in one tooth, then I know which area of your life you need to make changes on. And actually, I think it's very logical. I was inspired by a palm reader many years ago. She said that the fingers correspond to areas of life, and I thought maybe the teeth do the same. And then I realized that they do. And what I think today, because when I want to tell this story, I think many people, they don't think any good of palm readers. I think it's woo-woo or something. So I tried to find out, how can I tell this in another way? And what I realized is our body is changing through life. When we go from being a child into being an adult, then our body changes a lot. And that means that when we get breasts and the boys get a deeper voice, and this is preparing us, and it's giving us access to a new energy. And we are not born with teeth. We get teeth in different ages when we are ready to get access to this new energy. So the two front teeth in the bottom is the outgoing force. And as babies, when we can do nothing but eat and sleep, and then suddenly we try to move forward. And this is what these teeth represent, this moving out into the world. And then later we want to speak, and the two front teeth in the upper mouth, this is the expressive energy. And if we don't have them, it's not so easy to form the words. We don't speak so clearly. We don't have these teeth. So this is our expressing force, power. And then the teeth come, when we, as babies, we get more and more interested in the world. So the teeth come in that direction, not direction, that I can't find just that word I want to say, but when we are about 2 years old, then we get the canines, which represent the willpower. So suddenly the toddler gets access to willpower, and this new energy is, well, I'm going to use it. I'm going to see what can I do with it. And that's what we call what do you call it? A temper tantrum. So
Yeah.
actually everything fits together. And when I was in USA and gave this lecture, then it was I can't say it in English. Iris.
Iridology.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And he told me that it fit completely with their perception of everything. And I don't know why they can see things in the eyes, but maybe eyes changes along the way. I don't know.
That's great. Well, when you focus on seeing life through a lens for long enough and as deeply as you have, you can really understand things through that. You know, I've done that for 10 years with water, and I was interviewed about water yesterday, and it's the first time in a while. And so I had the chance over the last couple of weeks to reflect on how much I've thought about life through water, and I was kind of blown away by how much I've learned. And it's really something. So I'm blown away by how much you've thought about life through teeth. I just love this conversation, and I'm so thankful for what you're sharing. So as we think about, I love empowering people. I love people to be autonomous and to be their own authority. You know, myself as a starting place and a community as well. So when we think about empowering people to be able to take control of their dental health and wellness, what are some of the most powerful things people can do to step forward and reclaim their power in this area of life?
Well, actually, the teeth are very communicative. Teeth are telling us if something is wrong. So the important thing is to notice the symptoms, because symptoms is the body's language, the teeth language. If food is stuck between two teeth, that's a sign. That's a message. If plaque is building up, it's a symptom. It's a message. If you have a cavity, it's a message. But bleeding, you know, if you notice all the symptoms, and then you look at my chart and see, oh, which tooth is that, and which area of life does this correspond to, and then make some changes. So we can all be empowered by this. We at some point we won't need dentists anymore.
Love that. I know sometimes I get like a really tough piece of food stuck between two teeth, and I won't have time to floss or brush, and I'll just be, on my way out somewhere, and I might work on it for an hour or two. I've always thought that just means I need a piece of floss. Never thought, never thought more deeply about it. But based on which teeth it's between, it actually has a specific connection that you've experienced.
Yes, and actually, I find it fascinating that the food knows where to be stuck. And I had a patient once some time back, and one day she came and say, well, daughter, I think I have a cavity here because food is stuck between my teeth all the time now. And it's completely annoying, right? This little piece of meat, it's and I examined her teeth and there was nothing wrong, but I asked her if she wanted this way of looking at it, as I already knew. And I said, this place is about your relationship with your mother. And I didn't know if she still had her mother because she was 60 something, but she had a mother. Her mother was still living, and her mother was sick. She had a lot of pain and things, and my patient, she gave her all kinds of advice, and her mother rejected everything. And my patient, she felt that it was her that was being rejected. So I told her, your mother has to take responsibility for her own disease. And then some month went by, and she came for the check, and the first thing she said was, oh, my mother, she's feeling much better now. So I asked her, so what about the food that is stuck between your teeth? And at first she looked completely, oh, yes, she forgot, because the food was no longer stuck there. Isn't that intelligent?
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, I'm always looking at life from a perspective of oneness. So when something is dropping in, I think I'm most tuned to like seeing pain and like seeing discomfort and looking at it, but I'm trying to soften myself so I stop recreating pain in my present. You know, I get how I created that from my past, but if I can give life more ways to communicate with me on the level of subtlety of a piece of food between my teeth and just get the message, I like that rather than waiting for the more painful version. I've taken to animal totems over the last 15 or 20 years, and I particularly noticed red-tailed hawks, which seem to be a really important spirit animal for me, and they show up, you know, very regularly. Although I haven't seen one for a year or two. I might be going through a new animal totem phase. But anyway, I love that there's a new area to open up receiving information to that can be subtle, and I don't have to get hit quite so hard. So do you think that it's a wise investment for people to invest their time and energy in seeing a traditional dentist? Is there ever a time where you would consider that the right thing to do?
I'll say if you don't get to know your teeth, if you don't do the work, then you should see the dentist, because otherwise you can end up having severe toothache. So, but if you do the work, if you get to know your teeth, then you probably never need to see the dentist. But we're in the middle of this now. We are still not there. And I think that if you have a cavity and you are trying to work on yourself to fix it, and you are not able to, and if you're frightened that you will not be able to stop this cavity in time, then you should go and see the dentist, because fear is not doing anything good for you. And sometimes it's a good thing to have a tooth pulled out, and then you can go to the dentist. And if you have a toothache, then it can be difficult to work on yourself in that situation because the pain is so intense. And then it can sometimes be a good idea to go to the dentist, but not to have the full root canal treatment, but just to have the pressure taken off.
Mhm. So it sounds like the implication here is you have seen people be able to reverse the development of a cavity or the development of something that would lead to a root canal and regenerate full health in those situations. Yeah.
I have not seen teeth tissue grow back yet. But I actually have 2 cavities myself that I discovered 10 years ago. And I decided not to have fixed. And I know that these cavities, they are passive. They're not progressing. But sometimes something can happen which make them active again. But then they will tell me, these teeth, they are about my authority. And 4 years ago, I joined a Facebook group where my authority suffered. And I realized that what I wanted to contribute with was overruled by the one that had the group. And then, the cavity started again. And then they got sharp. The teeth got suddenly sharp. It's not that they changed form, but suddenly they could tear my tongue on the side. And that was really annoying. I couldn't stop noticing. And I know that back then when the cavities started, then I remember these sharp edges on my teeth suddenly. But I didn't know what it meant. But today I know that when I get in a situation where my authority is questioned, or I want to show my authority, but it's not able to, then the cavities will start again. But then I know what to do, and then they will stop. And if I went to the dentist, he or she would say that, well, you have cavities, but they are not, they don't need to be fixed, I think. But you can, when you touch, you can feel that some tissue is missing. But it's okay with me. But I hope that I someday have been able to recreate the tissue.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, I love that. So it brings up, this dialogue between you and your dentist, and the idea that the dentist would tell you that the cavities were passive. So if somebody has to go to a dentist, what kind of questions can they ask, or preparation can they do, or what can they look at in the selection process to create this kind of alliance? Because I had a dentist once, and I had a chipped front tooth, and all that guy wanted to do was get my okay to grind that thing down and put a new cap on there and charge me a lot of money. And when I looked in the mirror and saw the little stub that was left of my tooth, I felt violated. And I wish I had been able to better visualize what I was embarking on there. And what I had was a dentist with a lot of equipment and a lot of dental school bills, and a deep commitment to a big house and a fancy car. And I'm sure he has all that now, because he was doing a lot of drilling and cutting. So how do we engage a dentist into this kind of partnership? What kind of questions do we
We'll
ask
always say, when the dentist suggests something, then say, well, I'll just have to think about it. So then you have time to figure out, is this something that I want? will this increase my life quality? You know, some people say, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to keep this tooth. And who is deciding that? Is the dentist your judge? And they are, and the dentists have the responsibility for your teeth. If you go to the dentist regularly, then the teeth are not your responsibility, but the dentist. But I want you to claim that responsibility. So if the dentist will drill or pull out, wisdom teeth, healthy wisdom teeth are pulled out just like that. And you should say, well, thank you for the advice. I'll just have to think about it. And then ask your inner wisdom, because and if it doesn't increase your life quality, then say no. And I know people, they need to learn about my work, because you can maybe not just say no if you don't know what is happening. Oh, is it going to be worse? You have to do the work also. Get to know your teeth.
Yeah, for sure. Another layer of insight into who we are, and another layer of empowerment for making good decisions. I think it's often assumed when one wisdom tooth gets inflamed that people either take out 2 or they take out all 4. Would you, if one needed to be taken out, do that one individually and hold on to as many as you can?
I wouldn't take any.
Mm.
Information is not a sign that it is bad. The wisdom teeth are often, when they are inflamed or something, it's because you have concerns about the future.
Mm.
And when you deal with that, then the inflammation will stop.
That's fantastic. What kind of success stories have you seen with people that have worked with you?
Well, some people, they have had pain for a long time, and then they write me that after the session, then the pain stopped. And I remember a mother, her son had an abscess. Is it called that? Abscess swollen. And the dentist would pull out his tooth, but because the abscess, but when she had a session with me, when we talked about her son, and she had a conversation with him, then after 40 minutes, then the swollen gum was no longer swollen. 40 minutes.
Amazing.
And decay has stopped progressing, and periodontal disease, where the loose teeth, when they are loose, then maybe it's not so easy to reverse. But I have seen periodontal disease disappear many times. So I'm starting to guarantee that it will stop when they do the work.
Wow. I think that the most interesting, I would say shocking part of this conversation for me is how fast something can shift.
Yes.
People often go find the dentist for procedures when they have pain, and they just assume that there's no other path besides some, invasive procedure. And you're saying, hey, you can be in that pain, and if you really take on doing the work, you can turn it around very quickly. That's mind-blowing. It's really paradigm shattering. Oh.
Yes, because the toothache is, you're creating it. So when you're creating it, and you know what is going on, what is causing this, then you can do something different.
I love it. Hey, you guys, I've got 3 more questions. So I'm putting you on notice to think of your questions. I think we're really in the presence of a master here who has thought about things really differently than we have before. So if you guys can think about it from your perspectives, I know you can ask some questions that I'm not thinking of. So I'll be getting to you guys in just a sec. What are your best secrets and tips for having healthy teeth without engaging in the traditional system? How do we best, what's the biggest secret to coming from a self-empowered place and being powerful in this area?
This is very simple, not the same as being easy, but the simple thing is to speak up for yourself. Let the words get out of your mouth. Be honest, be authentic, and not irony or sarcasm. That is not authenticity. So when you have some words that are eager to get out, let them loose. That was simple, right?
That's simple,
but not easy.
It takes a lot of courage, but it's something we can do. Yeah, that's a great answer. Okay, so there's this myth out there in the world that there's something called fluoride that's added to our water, and the real story is that's not fluoride at all. It's not something from the earth. It's not a version of fluorine. It's something from aluminum smelting. It's a fluoride. There's a lot of syllables. It's like fluorosilicic acid. It's nasty stuff. What are your thoughts about fluoride? Like, first off, what is the in quotes fluoride that is put into things, and any thoughts you have on that topic?
Yes, fluoride is a poison, right? It's when it's found in nature, it's bound to calcium, but the one you put in toothpaste is natrium. Do you call that natrium? So and when you say that, oh, that's same, but it's not. The constellation of what you put together will change everything. So it's a poison, and using fluoride is to help a problem from the outside that is actually coming from the inside. And I don't think it has no place in our system.
Yeah.
So I haven't used fluoride for 20 years or something.
Yeah, just something invasive from the outside. That's not a big surprise. It's interesting to hear what you would say about it. And this is my last question for you before turning to the audience, which is, have you explored the connection between hydration and healthy teeth? Have you thought about that at all?
No. Very short answer.
Yeah, that's okay. The water guy wants to know. Couldn't help but ask. So
but
that's great.
Our teeth are hydrated from the inside. There's a system that hydrates our teeth from the inside and out. And this system, it sometimes reverses, and the scientists didn't know why, because they never address emotions. But that's my theory, that this hydration, when it goes the opposite direction, then it's because all these emotions that we have, and that this is causing decay, maybe other things too. But you can see, when you look at teeth, and you can see if they are well hydrated, and if they are not, then the enamel is the hardest tissue that we have in the body, and if you have this hard tissue, if it's not flexible, then it will break. So it has to be hydrated.
Gotcha. Makes me realize I have one more question. So you talk about seeing the enamel in the teeth. If people are half a world away from you and want to, lean into your expertise and book a session with you, don't you have to be able to see their teeth? And how does that work being so far apart?
Yes, people, they have to take photos of their own teeth. And that is empowering to some people. Think, oh, this is my teeth. And then they look at the pictures and say, well, it doesn't look so bad after all. So I need good pictures and x-rays if possible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. X-rays too. So they can share.
Yes, if they are available.
Great. Great. And do you need x-rays and pictures to be able to work with people, or does it depend on the scenario? How does that work?
I prefer when there are x-rays existing, and sometimes I need to, if it's some inflammation around the root tip, then I prefer to see the x-ray to see what is actually going on, how severe is it. But I also like to see the photos. When I see the front teeth, then I also know a lot about the person. But that said, then it sometimes happens that people call me, Danish people, of course. They call me and say, well, I have a problem with a tooth here, or I don't really know which one it is. But then I work with a pendulum. So actually sometimes we have a session without me ever seeing the teeth.
Right. Yeah. We just turn into other forces and universal knowledge and what's available. It's wonderful. All right. So who wants to jump in with a question? Sherry, I saw you turned your camera on, so there you are. I knew you were ready. So yeah, go ahead and jump in.
Hello. I have a question about wisdom teeth and orthodontics, because in the States, a lot of people have braces put on their teeth so that their teeth can be straightened. And the justification for removing the wisdom teeth is that they will mess up all of the work that has been done. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that putting braces on should be criminal. It's a crime. So don't have braces on, because teeth they show your personality. When we put braces on, then we believe that we are wiser than the nature. We believe that nature made a mistake. But nature never makes mistakes. So don't ever put braces on. Maybe there can be some severe cases where I can see that it will be beneficial, but all the braces, most of the braces, 99% of the braces should never be there. Because when you as a teenager, you are growing your personality, and your teeth are there in a way, in the position they're in. And then you sometimes you say, well, we need to pull out 4 teeth that the body has. It has taken body 10 years to create these masterpieces. And then it takes the dentist 5 minutes to pull it out. New, fresh teeth. And the dentist say that your teeth should be in this position. But what it does, it will always create an inner conflict, because now your teeth are not showing your personality. You're showing a different face. So you shouldn't have your teeth straightened in the first place. And the wisdom teeth, I don't believe that they can push all the other teeth. They can't. If there's not enough room for them to come up, then they just stay down there. It's if they could move all the other teeth, then it will always get up, but it doesn't.
Okay, thanks. And my daughter, she was missing like these two teeth
Yes.
here.
Yes.
What does that mean? And like that was one of the reasons for her braces, so that they could make room to put those teeth in, fake teeth.
Oh, so did they put implants?
Yes.
Yes, they love implants because they make a lot of money on implants. Did she have the baby teeth pulled out? Do you remember
No,
that?
she had baby teeth. She had those baby teeth, but then no adult teeth came in.
Yes. And the number two in the Danish system or European or what it is, we count from the middle. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is for me much more logical than the American system. So this is the number 2, the laterals. They are about ambition and also your highest potential. But when she was missing them from nature, then do you see her as a not very ambitious woman?
She's 21 now. She seems very ambitious. She's very bad with money. So I don't know if they have something to do with money. But you know, ambition doesn't seem to be an issue with her.
Okay. But you know, she was meant not to have the new teeth. And sometimes, well, if you had let nature do its job, then the canines would be more in that place. And when the canine is on the laterals place, then the energies are combined. So it's ambition combined with willpower, which actually makes the ambitions more fierce.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great. Does anybody else have a live question they want to ask?
Yeah, I'll just say, Dorte, thank you so much. Mind-body connection is not new to me, but never applied it to the teeth before. So it is definitely a new paradigm, expanding my, I can feel one question I came with was to ask you what you think of coconut pulling. Like I do have one very slightly loose tooth in the back that is a large pocket. And so I've been, swishing with coconut oil. But that's clearly the old paradigm. It's not this new paradigm. And it's a whole shift in thinking. Does your ebook have some of the what things mean, or is that all intuitive?
The ebook, I haven't read it for a very long time, and I wrote it in 12, so it's an old book. And so, but I do tell about the teeth, which area of life they correspond to.
Okay.
So which tooth is it that is loose?
The farthest one back on the top.
And do you have your wisdom tooth?
I do.
So is it the wisdom tooth?
Oh. Could be. It's shorter than the other, than the one next to it. So I'm guessing yes.
Yes. And the wisdom tooth is about confidence in yourself in life.
Hmm. Well, then I'm really glad I didn't let them take them out when they wanted to. They wanted to take all four.
Yes.
That makes sense. I was just recently doing some inner contemplation work, and confidence was what emerged as, yeah, what I need strengthened.
And I love your teeth.
Thank you.
All natural.
Mhm.
And it would be a crime to straighten them, I think.
Thank you.
That's great. Jen, I see you have your question. I'll make space for you in a second. Just one administrative thing. If we can republish in the chat and then also make a note for after this video becomes a recording to give the link to the ebook and then to the course and then to the individual appointments, you know, just how people can kind of go down the decision tree, as you might call it, about, you know, learning more and engaging. That'll be really helpful. And, you know, for everybody that didn't catch it, there's a free ebook available. There's a paid course available with a big discount for Lavanya members. And then there's individual sessions. So there's really support in any way that you can want it, however you feel called, and you can kind of just work through that yourself. And Jen's putting that stuff in the chat. And yeah, Jen, I know you got a question, so let's make room for that, and then we'll get over to Sherry in a second.
Thank you. Thanks, Dorte. This is amazing. I've so appreciated listening. It's like a whole world that I haven't thought about. And it's interesting because, you know, when we started with Patter, we were talking like, how are my teeth? And I was like, oh, they're great. And then listening, I'm like, wait, there's like, for a really long time, I've felt like there's something stuck, like in between these two teeth right here. And I'm like sitting here reflecting, I'm like, wow. And I've had like this external life circumstance where I've had this thing stuck. And no matter what I do with this tooth or with that circumstance, like it just stays stuck. And so I wanted to bring that to you because, like, do you see anything there for me?
It can be your mother and your relationship with her, but it can also be your authority, and it's between the number 6 and number 7, and number 6 is about being useful, being the helper, being the pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find situations where you don't want to be the pleaser, you want to more decide for yourself, but you end up in this situations where you are the helper? The left side is the emotional, the creative, where the right side is the rational, it's the doing things.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So the left is more, you know, like taken care of in a emotional way.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. The part about authority resonated too. And the other thing is I have this last tooth on the left side in the back. It feels sensitive. Like it's just like sensitive. And I have a feeling if I went to the dentist, they would say, oh, you know, we need to do something with that. But I'm not motivated to do that. And so I was wondering like how I could communicate with that tooth, or what ideas you have for me around that sensitivity.
Is it the do we have the wisdom teeth?
I think mine were pulled.
Yes, and I think you pointed at number 7, which is also your authority.
Uh-huh.
So, in the upper mouth, it's the close relationships, and in the lower mouth, it's the distant relationships.
Okay.
So it can be your authority, close and distant.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Sherry, back over to you.
Thank you. I wanted to ask what you suggest as far as cleaning our teeth goes. I know you don't use fluoride anymore, but do you even recommend toothpaste, or do you recommend powders, baking soda, salt? I mean, what is the recommendation that you would make for cleaning your teeth?
I actually don't recommend anything because cleaning is not necessary. I still brush my teeth once a day because I like the feeling of it. But I think maybe in the future I will say that you shouldn't. You know, I have chickens in my garden, and I read someplace that you shouldn't wash the eggs because then they will last only for a very short period of time, because there's something around them that's protecting. And I thought maybe that's what we feel on our teeth, you know, if we don't brush and feel like there's a layer on them, and maybe this is actually to protect them in some way. I don't know.
Do you have any thoughts about bad breath?
It often comes from the stomach. But if you have periodontal disease, then you can have bad breath from that.
So cleaning your teeth doesn't help with, and brushing your tongue and that sort of stuff doesn't help with bad breath?
I was married once, and my husband, he sometimes had a bad breath, and it didn't help brushing. But I think that when we think that we need to brush, it's also because we have destroyed the natural balance in our mouth. Because when we wash our hair every day, then it needs to be washed every day, right? And then if we don't, then it will get greasy. But then we can train our hair to not be washed every day. And I only wash my hair once a month now. And you know, other animals, they don't need to brush, right? I know that some people say that we need to brush our dog's teeth and our cats, but you know, the lion or the zebra or the cow, it would feel insane that we were going to brush their teeth, right? So why do we need to have our teeth brushed? And then people say, oh, that's because we eat sugar. But sugar was never what caused the decay in the first place. It's science cannot even find a connection between sugar and decay in humans. But they keep telling us that sugar is causing decay.
Interesting. So when you do brush your teeth once a day, do you use a powder, or do you use something with glycerin? Because I've heard
Sometimes I
glycerin's not
use
good.
coconut oil. And sometimes I have a toothpaste that I like. And I think you should use something that makes you feel good. Something that, this is a very loving feeling when I use this. You know, I remember back when I was using the traditional fluoride toothpaste, that when I had brushed, then I was completely dry in my mouth. And if somebody would offer me a glass of orange juice, and then I knew that the orange juice would taste really bad because of the toothpaste. Don't use something like that that makes you not feel very good in your mouth.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
So choose from that. If you have a powder, they say, "Oh, this is so nice," and use that. And you know, we have different things that we like, and you know, sometimes we hear that, "Oh, this is healthy. This food is healthy," and then everybody eats this food, but it's different from person to person. So if I hate celery, then I don't think I should eat it or drink it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's funny, one of my kids has always refused to brush his teeth, and you know, being the father I want to be, I just surrender and let him do it the way he wants to do it. And I've always thought he was wrong, but I always respected his authority to make that choice. And I wonder, for somebody who never brushes their teeth, do you think that discoloration is always going to happen, or is that's just coincidental? Like, you could never brush your teeth and have white teeth forever.
It's never coincidental. Well, if you have discolored teeth, then it's because you are hiding yourself.
This is interesting. Marcia, what do you have for us? Any questions?
Yes, when you were talking, I have an issue. I have my left side, the sixth tooth that was removed. So when you were talking about being a helper or whatever, does that intense your ability to be a helper and a pleaser, or does it remove it? How does that work whenever the tooth has been?
You have no longer access to that energy because you have used it far too much.
That's true.
Yes.
Well, that's an interesting question because I feel like I have actually exhausted helping my sister, but I'm still doing it.
Yes. And why are you still doing it?
Because there's nobody else there to help her, and she's got Parkinson's, and I'm her caregiver.
And you are used to it, so you don't mind and all that stuff. But I think you do mind, and I think it's time that you are being the helper for yourself.
Bless you. Thank you.
Wow.
She's not your responsibility, no matter what.
I know that, but it's easier said than done.
Yes.
Much easier said than done, because I can't
Yes.
seem to walk away from her,
No.
even though I want to.
So maybe you can change a little, or maybe you can find a way where you are not being exhausted by it.
Thank you.
Wow, that cuts to the heart of the matter, Marcia. That's
Thank you.
amazing. Thanks for engaging, everybody. What about for people who have had mercury fillings put in decades ago? Do you have an opinion about whether it is wise or not to have those removed?
Yes. I think that you know the answers yourself, because I don't think it's a good idea to put mercury inside anybody's head. But once it's there, then for some people it's a big issue, and then they should definitely have them removed. But other people think, well, I don't mind, then just leave them, because actually, your opinion, your sensation of it is what is important. What I learned when I studied to be a dentist is that the body doesn't absorb everything. It's like when you eat something, you cannot be certain that you are going to absorb it. Because every time the body is absorbing something, it uses energy. And nature never uses energy that is not meant to be or not essential. So you can, if you say, I want to eat really healthy food, and then you eat all the right stuff. But if you are your vibration is different than that, then you will not absorb all the good things.
Mm.
So you don't necessarily absorb the mercury. So if you don't pay attention to them, then I think it's okay.
That's like great information. Thank you. Sherry?
What do you think, well, what do you say that recession, gum recession means?
It means trying to be in control, trying to control yourself or the world.
And if you stop doing that, they will grow back down.
I have
Okay,
seen
so
some
it
of
doesn't
my
have-
teeth because I do it also, but I have seen that some of my teeth, the gum is coming back.
I've experienced that too. I used to have really raw gums, and they were receding, and you know, it felt like it was just a permanent condition. This is a long time ago. I don't have anything going on with my gums now. They're nice and full, and my teeth are covered up, and they're not sensitive.
That's amazing, because I've always been told it was due to over vigorous brushing, which is also perhaps a sign of control, but
Well, maybe we can get some more experts.
But you know, yes, we as dentists say that, oh, you brush too hard or wrongly, or but notice how you do other things. Because I have noticed that, you know, I have really this control issue, and when I hold my iPhone, then I notice when I notice how I'm holding it, then it's much more than I need to. And when I brush my hair, then you know, all my movements is a little too controlling. And I see it this way, that when we need this control, it's because we sometimes in life we experienced, we did something and somebody judged this to be very shameful. And this experience was so traumatic that we promised ourselves on an unconscious level, never will I do this to me again. I'm going to be in control. I'm going to see that this is never going to happen again.
okay, so how easy is it to change this since it was done on a subconscious level?
Very hard. I haven't really learned how to let go of control. But my youngest daughter, she was, as a child, she was scared of everything. She was scared of there would be a fire, or be a burglar, or scared of flying, scared of everything. But she took the challenge, and now she travels all over the world. She's not scared of flying anymore. She lives in Mexico, and she has really dealt with all that issues. So she's an example that we can overcome this control issue.
Okay, all right,
Sherry,
thank you.
Sherry, maybe we'll be able to pursue this more as a community. I know for me, I've put this on my radar for 16 years and, you know, really chipped away at control. And I think part of it, the shifts that I've been able to make and the progress I've been able to make have to do with aligning with new beliefs. I can't really be aligned with oneness and trust and love and control. So I do my best when I feel myself, like the perfect example, tightening the hand around the phone. It's like, well, what are you hanging on to here? Like there's a whole nervous system and physiological response that's really subtle. And I think actually I still have some of it in my jaw, like some of that control, that hardness is being held there. And I can feel it while you guys are dialoguing, like it's showing me, oh, here's another layer I can get at. So I just keep telling myself what I believe is the truth, you know, and the truth is that my life is safe and that my abundance is given by my creator and that it doesn't have to do with any interaction with any man or woman. And, you know, I just keep letting go. And then, you know, I hold myself when I want to take controlling action and say, well, you can do anything you want except that. So just don't do it, Patrick. You know, don't move in that direction. So we can get at this. You know, this is deep level patterning, and you know, just having this dialogue as a community and bringing it forth together is a part of the healing process. So good on us for doing that. We're opening up the solution by being open to noticing what's really going on with us. No,
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And I have one more dental question. Night guards for people who grind their teeth. What's the recommendation on that? And it's probably a sign of control, right?
But grinding your teeth is it's like all the words that you didn't let out during the day, then you are chewing on them at night. So actually it's letting go and let the words come out. And if you like the night guard, then use it. But I tried once. I tried one once, and I didn't like it. But some people, they relax more when it's in.
Yeah, I was actually told that my grinding was like loosening my teeth, and that was what I was trying to prevent. But you're saying even if I take it out, because it's like bulky and you're constantly chewing on it because it's not meant to be there. So you get all these like teeth marks in it. I would rather not, but at the same time, I don't want to like loosen my teeth by all this excessive talking that I'm apparently doing at night.
So notice when you are not speaking up for yourself, when you're not expressing your truth. That must be a lot, I think.
Yes. Yes. It's been a lot my whole life. Yes.
Yes. So practice. And maybe you will not be very good at it when you just let the words out, but then be compassionate about yourself and say, well, I'm not a champion because I have never really learned this. But let the steam out, and you know, it will be too expensive not to let the words out.
Okay.
And furthermore, you're not authentic And you are creating a distance between you and other people because you are not showing them who you are. So maybe you don't have the right people in your life also.
Or maybe you're just afraid of making them mad.
Yes. Did you have parents that were getting mad?
Yep.
Yes.
You guys, when we stop the recording in a little bit, I'm going to stay on Zoom and not end the call. And if anybody feels called by this topic of like what Marcia started to bring on about taking care of herself around her sister and what Sherry's bringing on, like I can just feel the depth of sadness in all of us, in me for sure. And I'm just going to stay on and talk with the people who that resonates with, and we're just going to heal together. We're just gonna be together and support one another, because this is obviously coming up, and our best bet is each other, is just leaning into each other. So, you know, thank you for this extraordinary conversation about dentistry to open up, you know, just absolutely deep, essential issue running through our community. It's really amazing. When people want to study with you and go further, which I'm sure they will, given the extraordinary nature of this conversation, what can they expect in the course that you offer? You probably have a page that describes it a little bit and that Jen's given the link to, but just give us a little flavor of what would you go to for the course and what would you go to for an individual session?
Yes. In the course, I teach you about every tooth and what they're connected to, and also about the position they have, what that means. And then the idea is that you should look in the mirror and think about it and write in the workbook. So when you take that part of the course, then you are really diving into your teeth and what they mean, and get to know yourself a lot more. And many people have followed me for many years and maybe even have read my books a number of times, but then when they have an issue, then they cannot figure out anyway what it is, because we are not very objective around our issues. So sometimes we need somebody else to tell us. And I think that's very wise, because if we could do everything ourselves, then we would be an island, right? We need to have this flow. We need other people. We need to help each other. So when people are having a session with me, I am translating the messages from the teeth, and I have clairvoyant talents. So you know, in a session, it's only a small part of it is actually about teeth. So it's like the teeth is only my way into giving this guidance.
Sounds great. Do you have yeah, Anne, go ahead.
Hi there. I just wanted to thank you. I was really looking forward to this call because I've been dabbling in the dental area of the meridians and what the meridians, the emotions attached to the meridians. And I wondered if you had, you know, started or studied or involved the meridians and their emotional components with the teeth as you were developing your own practice?
No.
No? Okay.
Not the meridians, but I know the chart from which teeth connect to the organs.
Mhm.
And emotions are my perspective.
Mhm.
So I go directly to that emotion. But I also know that emotions are placed around the organs. So I know that the organs, sometimes I talk about the organs,
Uh-huh.
not
Okay.
not the meridians. You know, some other people have made a chart of the meridians and teeth, and for me, it's more interesting to find new knowledge.
Well, in my practice, I use the meridians and the emotions attached to the organs. And so years ago, I had 2 teeth that both came out. That one was a crown, one was a root canal. And this was before I knew the dangers of root canals. And I was in a bad marriage. I was, it was full of turmoil and resentment and loss of personal power and self-esteem. And that was totally right on for what the meridians were going into those teeth, but for what you've said too. And since then, I've had to have some adjustments in both of those teeth. And I chose not to have the implants because of the dangers of having metal in your head with all the electromagnetic fields out there in the world today.
Yes.
So that was kind of an interesting thing that got me really interested in what was going on. I know that I went for, well, anyway, I don't want to take any more time, but I wanted to thank you so much for the work you're doing, because it's so important and it's so much a part of what we all need to know and focus on in the body. Because like you say, the iridology is one way to read the eyes, the teeth, that. Palm, I had an amazing life-changing palm reading when I was in India years ago. And it blew my mind, and everything he said came true right after I came back.
Yes.
And also reflexology, the paths of the hands and the feet. Same thing. You can read the body through that.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So thank you. I really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks, Ann. One more question for you from me. Regarding this tightness I feel in my jaw, I know that's not teeth exactly per se, but is there any guidance you can give about unwinding that and softening that?
Yes. Do you know why you have tightness? It's your body, your muscles helping you to not let the words get out.
Oh, so I'm trying to shut my mouth.
Yes.
Uh,
Prevent the words from getting out.
wow. A little more contemplation and discernment about what to say and what not to, huh? I can take that reflection. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Oh, great discussion. This has really been really awesome for us. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we got one sneaking in the chat. Do missing teeth that have been removed still have a connection to emotions?
No, when you are missing a tooth, then you have no longer access to that area.
Mm.
So it's gone.
That's
So,
it.
some people, they are missing the number 6 in the lower mouth. Many people are. The number 6, the one that is coming when you're around 6 years old, and which is about schooling, education, and work in the lower mouth. It's the helper tooth, the pleaser tooth in the upper mouth, but in the lower mouth, it's about work. And many people, they have a job that they hate, or they have a job where they do too much, then they work too hard, and then they maybe get stressed, or maybe arthritis or something that your body is helping you not to do so much. And when people, in Denmark, if we have been ill for a very long time, then we might get a pension and early retirement. It's like you get some you get paid. I don't know if you have the system elsewhere, but what I have noticed that when most of the people, and some of them are only 40 years old, but most of them, they are missing their number 6 because they can no longer work because they have used all the energy on only a few years.
Interesting.
So when the teeth are gone, then there's no longer access to that energy.
Okay. Well, there you have it. All right. Well, thank you again on behalf of our whole community. You've been very generous with your life's knowledge and how much you've learned, and I'm sure that a lot of people will be wanting to study with you. And yeah, blessings to your work and to all you're doing in the world. And if you ever have anything new that you want to get out to the world and you want to distribute it through us, we would love for people to learn about you through us. Your work is really great. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.